Shop Talk. I'm Lexi Schultz. Hopefully you have more than enough money left from your holiday spending because we will be talking about different investment opportunities for 2011. We'll start that series today with a discussion on the prospects of investing in equities. And joining us today is personal finance coach and author Efren Cruz. Mr. Cruz is also the chairman and CEO of Personal Finance Advisors Philippines Corporation. Hello, sir.
Hi,
Thank you
Lexi.
for coming on to the show.
You're welcome.
Serious topic for today because, well, I'm sure that a lot of us do have money left over and want to start fresh and want to start knowing that it'll grow.
Yep.
So the factors to consider in choosing investments for the year, but maybe before, because I'm a newbie as well.
Okay.
So maybe you can tell me what the different forms of investing are.
Okay. Investing actually can come in the form of investing in what we call securities.
Okay.
These are investment instruments that are approved by the regulators for sale to the investing public. Or you can actually invest in your own business. That is investing as well. But equities would fall under the securities that we're supposed to talk about today.
Okay, so let's talk about the 5 rules of investing. So obviously people can be guided.
Oh, yeah.
Because for a newbie, let's say, you'd need a personal financial advisor.
Okay.
You can't just go in there blind.
They shouldn't.
They should never do that.
Okay.
So what are your 5 rules to investing?
The first one is actually, people would normally ask me, what's the best place to put your money in?
Right.
I
That
tell
is
them-
a standard question,
That's a
isn't
standard
it?
question. The first question, in fact. But I tell them, don't look for that first. The first step should be find out what you want to earn, what you need to earn for yourself,
Right.
and the risks you're willing to take. So the first one is assessing your risk-return preference before you even go looking for investment outlets.
So you have to know what you want. You have to know how much you have.
What you're investing for. It's
And
not,
you have to be realistic.
Oh, yeah.
And the second one is to determine if you are all set, using
set.
the set rule. So set is S-E-T.
SET, yeah.
So what exactly does SET
Well,
stand for?
After you've known how much you need to earn and what risks you're willing to take, then you have to find out, well, do I have enough size of funds? That's the S.
Okay.
To go into investing, because in some instruments you do need a bigger amount to
Right.
put your money in.
But what, let's say, would be a perfect startup for this
For the
size?
stock market, since we're talking about that, you can go to an online broker and open an account with just 25,000.
Okay.
So that's good enough.
So that's a meager start, but it's something, right?
Yeah, it's something. That's one. But if you, let's say, cannot afford that, and you want still to go into investing in the stock market, there are mutual funds out there or vehicles that can actually require only 5,000 pesos.
And that would be the minimum.
That will be the minimum, and
Okay.
then you can already be invested. So S is for size of funds.
Okay.
E is for expertise in
Okay.
investing. You have to know what you're doing. Okay. And then T is the time you have to monitor your investments. Now the rule is that if you don't have one or a combination of the SET, then you should be hiring investment managers for yourself.
Of course.
Or investment advisors. Don't do it yourself. Okay. If you have all of the set, then do it yourself. Okay. Now investment managers, there are a lot of them out there.
And how do you find the right one? Isn't it like a marriage as well? You have to kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
know each other well, or at least be comfortable with this person because this is your
Right.
own finances that you're
Right.
talking about.
Right. That's why the first step is to assess your risk return preference. No? You have to find a fund manager who's managing funds or who can manage using your own return and risk preferences. No?
Right.
So he cannot be too much of a cowboy when you're very conservative.
Okay.
So you have to
so
find
it
a
has to be
match.
the right match.
Yeah, you have to find a right match for that. But nowadays there are funds that actually can cater to the particular risk return preferences of people. No? Like for example, there will be, for the riskier people, there will be equity funds.
Okay.
For those who are not so much of a risk taker, there are balance funds, combination of equities and fixed income. So they
Yes.
balance it out. For those who just want income, then there are money market funds.
Well, I guess there's already a system out there, so you just have
There
to know
is.
exactly what you're
Yeah.
getting into.
Yeah.
So number 3 to the 5 rules of investing is to investigate before you invest.
Exactly, because there are a lot of tips out there that will tell you, oh, why don't you go in here or go in there?
But doesn't your financial advisor do that for you?
Well,
necessarily?
exactly. Tips that are free are the most dangerous ones.
Okay.
So don't be afraid.
So don't go into the internet and get some
Oh,
tips
yeah,
and,
yeah.
you know.
pay for it because you get quality.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that is true. And then, so the fourth one, you have to form a portfolio of investments so that you're able to diversify.
That's correct. Because
Okay, that sounds complicated though for a newbie.
that's right. It's quite complicated. But then if you go into a mutual fund or a unit investment trust fund, they have built-in rules on how to spread the investments. So you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
You just have to worry about whether there is a match between you and the fund.
Okay. And the fifth, you have to review your performance periodically. I mean, that's true with everything that you do throughout the year,
exactly.
isn't it?
But people tend to just, forget about it.
Bahala na, especially if their, I guess, financial advisor is very good and they feel confident in them. But you still have to be on the ball.
Because it's not just putting your money one time. You also have
Right.
to see whether you're meeting your goals or not. Maybe you have to add a little bit more. And that's where the review comes in.
Okay. So what are some of the investment vehicles that are profitable for 2011?
If you're talking about securities, well, I would think that the stock market will still provide handsome returns for us this year, albeit a bit moderated compared to the previous 2 years.
Right.
But it's still good, given that you have a benign inflation environment, low interest rates, appreciating peso, and most importantly, funds around the world are actually flocking to emerging markets, Philippines being one of them.
Well, because we did well in the domestic front, obviously. But
we did well.
And people are actually flocking over to the Philippines. But
Yeah.
then the markets abroad weren't doing so well in the last year, were they?
If you would look at the developing nations, not as well, but they're still doing okay. It's just that their economies are sluggish, no? Especially in the US and Europe. Kind of sluggish, and they'll probably remain sluggish for the next year or so, which is why money will go into emerging markets like Asia. There's a new term for the bigger emerging markets that's called BRIC. That's
Okay.
Brazil, Russia, India, China.
Oh, wow.
These are the big countries that are leading the emerging
Well,
markets.
China you could kind of maybe see, but Brazil,
Yeah,
you don't
Brazil.
assume that these, I guess, smaller time.
Yeah, but Brazil, Russia, India, China, and then of course there's Mexico. And then we are somewhere there towards
So the
the end.
Philippine market is attractive
Oh yeah.
to Asia and Australia, let's say, especially, or
Well, here's the thing: when fund managers allocate their money globally,
okay,
they will look at like this aggregation of economies, and they'll say, okay, let's go into emerging markets, and we just have an allocation for the Philippines. It can never be, or normally they don't just allocate to the Philippines and that's it.
Okay.
They'll allocate to the whole range of countries out there, and will be part of that.
okay. And what about price earning? There's something that
Well, price earnings.
what does that measure exactly?
Well, if you're buying something and you want to make money out of it, the price that you pay relative to what you earn is price earnings. That's what it is, and that's what we use also with the stock market. One of the primary measures is to look at the PE.
Yes.
Okay. If it's low, that means that the acquisition price for the stock is low, and the chance that you'll make more money with that stock. No.
Okay. So, well, let's talk about, let's say for me, a newbie. Okay. What would you suggest the tips would be for me to start off fresh and good this year?
Well, I would say that you just firstly go with the fund manager or investment advisor.
And where do I go to?
Oh, there are a lot of fund managers out there. The banks will have them, specifically the trust departments of banks. They will have either individual accounts that they can open for you, like individual management accounts or living trusts, or you can go and join their pooled funds, wherein lots of people put money in these funds.
So this would be a cash investment. Is this what you call a cash investment?
Cash investment, you put it there. That's called a unit investment trust fund, and
Okay.
a professional fund manager will manage for you. But whatever cash you put there will be invested in the investment objective of the fund, or whatever you tell them when you're talking about, let's say, an individual management account.
And how much would you say to get your feet wet would be a good amount?
Unit investment trust funds will probably require also 25, 50,000. Some will even ask for 10,000.
And what if, let's say, you get comfortable with that and then you kind of want to go into the stock market? Because the stock market, although it is sort of like a game, I suppose.
Well, somewhat, yeah. But it's a little bit more complicated. There are a
So
lot
you
of,
have to start out with maybe the cash investments first.
yeah. Well, what I mean by cash is that cash is just a money market. No? That's what we mean by cash. But you can actually go directly into equities if you want, for as long as there's a professional guy managing it for you.
Okay, so the first thing is to find a good partner
Good
to
partner,
be able to
fund
help
manager,
you out.
yeah, or advisor. That's first. There are other, apart from the banks, you also have the mutual funds, which are normally run by insurance companies, but there are standalone companies running mutual funds.
Okay.
They operate the same way as unit investment trust funds of the banks.
Okay.
And then there are variable unit linked insurance run by insurance companies. There are pre-need plans, and there are also this new thing, which is the REITs, real estate investment trusts.
Well, there's so much to talk about, but we're going to take a break first. Okay, so more on investing in equities and mutual funds after the break. Stay tuned. Shop Talk will be right back.